Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart: spirituality and philosophy. These two terms seem to be opposite, but in fact, they are deeply intertwined and can help us understand the deepest questions of life. Spirituality is all about finding meaning and purpose in life. It is about exploring our innermost selves and connecting with something greater than ourselves. Philosophy, on the other hand, is about exploring fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, reason, and reality. They are the bedrock of our understanding of the world and our place in it. The common thread that connects these two terms is the quest for truth. We all want to know what is true, good, and meaningful in life. Philosophy helps us question our assumptions and beliefs, while spirituality helps us find a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. However, these two terms can also be confusing and even conflicting. Some people see philosophy as esoteric and irrelevant, while others see spirituality as a form of religion or dogma. I believe that true spirituality and philosophy should be approached with an open mind and heart. We should not try to force our beliefs and values on others, but instead listen and respect different perspectives. We should also be open to learning and growing, both as individuals and as a society. In conclusion, spirituality and philosophy are two sides of the same coin. They can help us understand the deepest questions of life and find meaning and purpose in our lives. However, we should approach these terms with an open mind and heart and not try to force our beliefs on others. Some of the most well-known philosophers' views on reality. Philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and Immanuel Kant have all had a significant impact on our understanding of reality. Plato's ideas on the ideal world influenced the idea of a multiverse, where the material world is just a shadow or reflection of something bigger. On the other hand, Aristotle believed that everything in the universe had a cause and effect relationship, and that there was a one true cause of everything. Immanuel Kant argued that our understanding of reality is based on our senses and our ability to interpret data. He believed that there was no objective reality that could be perceived by all people at the same time. However, one philosopher who has been particularly influential in recent years is Albert Camus. He wrote the novel The Myth of Sisyphus, where he explores the idea of absurdity in the universe. According to Camus, the universe is full of random and meaningless events, which makes it seem absurd. He also believed that we shouldn't try to find meaning or purpose to the universe, as it is pointless. Philosophers have had a long and fascinating history when it comes to exploring the nature of reality. While there are differing opinions on what the correct answer is, one thing is for sure: philosophy has the power to inspire us to think critically about the world around us. Thank you for watching. First, let's take a look at Arthur Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer believed that the world was a manifestation of our own consciousness. Everything that exists is subject to our desires, and our desires are what drive the world. This means that the reality that we experience is actually a projection of our own minds. Next, let's talk about Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche believed that reality was a series of conflicts and struggles between opposite forces. Everything in the world was constantly changing, and there was no inherent meaning to it. The idea of a supreme being or God was completely rejected by Nietzsche. Finally, let's take a look at Immanuel Kant. Kant believed that reality was a combination of external and internal factors. The external world is what we experience through our senses, but the internal world is our thoughts and beliefs. Reality is a construct of our minds, and what we experience is a combination of external and internal factors. It is a question that has been asked and answered in various ways throughout history. Many different religions, philosophies, and beliefs have different understandings of reality. In spirituality, the concept of reality is often described in terms of a divine or spiritual force that is the ultimate source of all existence. This divine force or power is often referred to as God or the Supreme Being. The view that reality is ultimately spiritual is a fundamental aspect of many religions, including Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism. Many spiritual traditions also believe that there are other dimensions or planes of existence beyond the physical one we inhabit. These dimensions are often described as spiritual realms or worlds that are populated by entities such as angels, spirits, and demons. These spiritual entities can have a powerful influence on the lives of humans who are living on the physical plane. In addition to the divine or spiritual forces that are often referred to as the ultimate source of reality, some spiritual traditions also believe in the existence of universal principles or laws that govern the world. These laws can be seen as reflecting the divine or spiritual nature of reality and can be used to explain the natural world and human behavior. Spiritual views on reality can vary widely, from the view that reality is ultimately spiritual to the view that it is governed by universal principles. However, a common aspect of many spiritual traditions is the belief that there is something greater than ourselves that is the source of all existence and that we are part of a larger web of interconnectedness and harmony. Every day we are bombarded with visuals, audios, and other sensory inputs that enter our minds. We take these inputs as reality and form opinions and beliefs based on them. However, the truth is that our senses only provide a limited perspective on the world. The matrix, as we are commonly known, is the mind's projection of a world that it creates using its senses. It is a construct that gives us a sense of stability and control over our environment. However, the matrix is constantly changing, and our sense of reality is constantly shifting. Our senses give us a distorted view of the world because they are based on certain filters and biases. The way we perceive color, taste, touch, and sound is affected by our upbringing, culture, and personal experiences. Additionally, our mind creates illusions based on the information that it processes. For example, if you have seen a lot of violent movies, your mind will create an impression that violence is always present in the world. Similarly, if you have an anxiety disorder, your mind will create a belief that the world is dangerous and full of dangers. Therefore, it is important to understand that the matrix is not a fixed and permanent reality. It is a projection of our minds, and it can be shattered by changing our perspective and understanding the information that we process. In conclusion, our senses provide us with a limited perspective on the world, and the matrix is a projection of our minds. It is essential to break free from the matrix and understand that the world is much more complex and dynamic than what our senses can perceive. Remember, mind is a matrix, and the world is much more than what it appears to be. Gnostic view of reality was a departure from the traditional Christian view of reality. Gnostic belief was that knowledge of God was only accessible to a select few who were initiated into a secret society. The members of this society were known as Gnostics, which means knowledge in Greek. The Gnostic belief was that there was a hierarchy of truths. The lowest truth was the knowledge of the common man. Then there was the truth of the initiated, which was next level, and so on. The highest truth was the knowledge of God. This truth of God was only accessible to a very small number of people. So basically, the Christian view that all knowledge of God was available to all people was a fallacy. The Gnostics also believed in 7 major worlds or planes of being, which included this physical world we live in. Each world was governed by a god or a set of gods. The physical world was ruled by the Roman god, Jupiter. The Gnostics also believed that the soul was immortal and could continue to live after the physical body died. They also believed in the resurrection of the body, which was seen as a necessary step to achieving eternal life. The Gnostics also had a doctrine of the second coming of Christ. This was seen as a combination of both a personal coming of Christ and a resurrection of all the dead. Some of the most famous Gnostic writers were Clement of Alexandria, Origen, and Cyprian. Their works influenced the development of the Catholic Church for many centuries. This question and come up with various perspectives. Some say that reality is illusion, while others believe that it is an objective reality. For example, Immanuel Kant argued that our perceptions of the world are not the same as the object itself. According to him, our senses deceive us and our perceptions are based on our beliefs and assumptions. Therefore, he argued that reality is not something that can be experienced directly, but is an idea that we create through our minds. On the other hand, some philosophers, such as Albert Einstein, believe that reality is not subject to our perceptions, but is an objective truth. He argued that the laws of physics govern everything and that our perception of reality is based on our ability to observe and measure these laws. Others, such as Richard Dawkins, argued that reality is not a concept at all, but is simply a product of our cultural and evolutionary history. He believed that the world is not objective, but is a product of our beliefs and social norms. However, a growing number of philosophers are now coming to the conclusion that reality is not something that can be separated from our experience. They argue that our perceptions of reality are based on our experiences, beliefs, and values, and that the world is not objective, but subjective. In conclusion, the question of reality is one of the most complex and debated topics in philosophy. There are many different perspectives and ideas, and no one answer is correct. Ultimately, the reality we experience is a product of our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. and is not something that can be separated from our experience. Ancient Greek philosophers' views on reality. Ancient Greek philosophy originated in Greece during the 5th century BC and lasted until the 4th century BC. The main thinkers of this era were Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. One of the most well-known ideas of ancient Greek philosophy is the concept of logos, which means reason, thought, or speech. The Greeks believed that the logos was the foundation of reality and that everything else existed because of it. Socrates, for example, believed that the logos was the only true reality and that everything else, such as physical objects or senses, were illusions. He believed that people were always looking for their own interests and desires, and that the true objective was to find the logos and understand it. Plato, on the other hand, saw the logos as a divine essence that permeated the entire universe. He believed that the divine essence was responsible for creating the world and that humans had the task of seeking it out and understanding it. Aristotle, in contrast, believed that the logos was a combination of two other elements: the principle of the individual, that which makes something unique, and the principle of the many, that which makes something a collection of individual things. He also believed that the logos was the foundation of ethics, politics, and epistemology, which are the three main branches of philosophy. In conclusion, the ancient Greek philosophers had a profound impact on the development of Western philosophy. Their ideas about the logos, reason, and thought continue to influence our understanding of reality to this day. In Vedanta, the ultimate reality of the world is known as Brahman. Brahman is not something that can be seen or touched, but it is the underlying essence of all existence. In this video, we will explore some of the key ideas of Vedanta about Brahman and reality. Firstly, let us understand that Brahman is not something that can be divided into different parts. It is a singular, eternal, and infinite entity that exists beyond all change and division. Vedanta views the world as a reflection of Brahman, and everything that we experience is a projection of Brahman. This means that even the smallest atom in the universe is a reflection of Brahman. Another important concept in Vedanta is that Brahman is neither male nor female. It is neither a masculine nor a feminine entity, and it does not have any attributes associated with it. Brahman is known as the eternal and indestructible self of all beings. This self is the source of all consciousness and is the underlying essence of everything that exists. Vedanta also believes that consciousness is the primary reality of the world. Consciousness is what gives rise to all phenomena, including objects, sensations, and perceptions. Consciousness is not something that is separate from the world, but it is the very fabric of the world. Vedanta sees consciousness as eternal, infinite, and pure consciousness. In conclusion, Vedanta views reality as Brahman, which is beyond all change and division. Even the smallest atom in the universe is a reflection of Brahman, and consciousness is the primary reality of the world. These are some of the key ideas of Vedanta about Brahman and reality. Here are some different religions' views on reality. Religion is an important aspect of human culture and has been around for thousands of years. Each religion has its unique beliefs and practices that shape the way people live their lives. However, one of the most fundamental questions in religion is about the nature of reality. There are many different religions in the world, each with its own unique perspective on reality. For example, Christianity teaches that the world was created by God and that Jesus is the Son of God. According to Christianity, the final fate of mankind is determined by God, and the afterlife is an important aspect of the religion. In contrast, Islam teaches that there is only one true God and that Muhammad was his messenger. Islam emphasizes the importance of charity, forgiveness, and helping others. The afterlife is also an important aspect of Islam, with the belief that the soul goes to heaven or hell after death. Hinduism is another religion that emphasizes the importance of the individual and the spiritual journey. It teaches that all people have the ability to reach the divine and achieve enlightenment. Hinduism also has a complex pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their own unique characteristics and powers. Finally, Judaism is a religion that has its roots in the history of Israel and emphasizes the importance of following God's commands. It also has a complex set of laws and traditions that govern everything from prayer to food to clothing. Overall, the different religions have different perspectives on reality, and it is important to understand and respect these perspectives. However, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to find a faith that speaks to your soul and guides you on your spiritual journey. Thank you for listening.